All right, Drake Riggs here with Scott Coker, the Bellator president, of course. Scott, man, I want to know, how was the trip to Japan overall? Like, everything, I'm sure it was amazing, right? But tell me yourself, reflecting back on it.
It was a magic moment because I felt like, this is like the mecca of fighting, right? And it's Saitama Super Arena is like Yankee Stadium, right? And to go there to throw a Bellator fight for the first time, sell 17,000 seats, and it was over a $2 million gate for us. So it was a good piece of business, and just to see crowd after crowd after crowd just keep flowing in, and the press conference was well attended, and the weigh-ins were big. I mean, it was just a big event for us, and it was something that gave me a lot of hope in that we could go back, and maybe once a year we could go back and fight RIZIN, or we could do our own event, or I think the door's open at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the MMA Super Bowl a little bit, right? Because everybody, especially when you guys are getting together, I mean, the best of the best, right?
Well, listen, there's other leagues too, and I think eventually, we could maybe have like a World Cup at some point. But that would be a lot of fun. I think, it's gonna be. I think timing is gonna be an issue, but when it opens up like that and somebody wants to do it, we'll definitely send our fighters.
Yeah. Was there anybody specifically from their roster that impressed you the most?
Yes, and to me, no, I know who it was. It was the female fighter Rena.
Yeah.
She took care of business. I was surprised because the other girl, the rematch, I thought the other girl would take it to her again, but she trained, she's getting better, and she's improving. And talk about 3-4 punch combinations. I was like, wow, this girl could really throw it down. So to me, she's won. Asakura brothers, they're good, and I'd love to have them come fight some of our top guys too. And when you think about the future, I think Rena, Asakura brothers, and I think maybe the former champ, the one that lost to Asakura, the one that took our belt. I think that he could definitely. I think he could definitely beat a lot of the guys over there. I think he got surprised and caught, and he had a bad knee. But I think that those are the 4 or 5 fighters I think that we'd love to have. Oh no, and what's his name? Tension.
Of course, yeah.
Come on, man, he's a beast. Listen, Mayweather beat him up last year, but it was boxing.
Yeah.
Let's see it in kickboxing. Yeah, exactly. It's not the same.
Yeah. And what did you think about Conor Watanabe though? Because I know she's a person who's in a weird situation because with RIZIN and Deep Jewels, where she usually fights, they don't have a title in either organization for flyweight. So when I talked to her, she was like, "Yeah, I really want to make the climb towards the Bellator title." Yeah. So I mean, is that something? Let her fight for you more often?
Yes. We would love to have her on board. She, we put her there with a tough girl, and she weathered the storm, came back and imposed her will on her, and her ground game is pretty amazing. So to me, I would love to see her in Bellator, but she fights for RIZIN. We have a good relationship with RIZIN, so I think we'll have access to her. But we have to do it the right way, be respectful to Sakibara and everything he's done, and that's kind of what we'll do.
So I asked you this a while back. I think it was Bellator 220 maybe, about the Atomweight division, right? The women's Atomweight division. Now that you've seen really the best it has to offer, because RIZIN has it with Sohei Ham, Ayaka Hamasaki. I'm sure you saw that fight, the title on the line, and then Rana, who not at Atomweight really anymore, but just plenty of the Atomweights over there in RIZIN. So has that kind of made you think like, oh, maybe we need to bring in this division at some point, bring the 105ers?
The answer is no, not yet. Okay. But to me, if they have all the 105ers, we should send. If we have somebody good, we'll send them there. But to start a whole division, we have our hands full with 145 and 125. We have some super fights for 115s, but to me, we're going to focus on those two divisions.
Yeah. And last week, Jiri Prochazka, he just got signed to the UFC. What are your thoughts on that? I know you were trying to maybe make the fight with Bader happen, you guys and him, but
listen, I was honestly, it's like, look, I wish him luck. I got nothing bad to say. He's a good fighter, and I'm sure he'll do okay. But I think we had a very tough division for him ahead. I mean, if he had come here, I don't think he'd done very well fighting our top guys. And I mean, like the Phil Davises of the world, or the Ryan Baders of the world, or even if Gegard moved up to 205, and the list goes on and on and on. I mean, I think he'd have a very hard time here. I think he's okay, but he's not going to move the needle here in America. So, you know, I wish him well, and I was actually just doing a favor for RIZIN, you know, because they asked us, can you please talk to him, and you know,
Okay.
and at first we were like, we really don't need him, you know, it's like, you know, but. You know, he want to go to the UFC, and I always believe a fighter should go where you want to go.
Yeah.
You want to go? Please, knock yourself out.
And, you know, speaking of that, light heavyweight and Bader now, since Yuri's out of the picture, does that mean Nemkov? Because I think Bader's next fight's going to be light heavyweight title defense, right? Is that the move? Anything there with Bader?
We'll have something announced on Saturday night.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right, perfect then. And, you know, last time we talked also, it was talking about Russia, and it was right around the time Fedor just had the loss, sort of. Any advancements on, you know, anything with the Russian market and maybe setting up that final, you know, fight with Fedor at the end of the year at some point?
We want Fedor to fight sometime, let's say after the summertime, and I think the fight will happen in Europe or the Middle East somewhere. Yeah. We've got a couple offers. We're going to vet them out, but you know, then after that, I think in the early spring he could fight in Russia. Okay. And that would be, you know, to me, it's like
massive.
It's like you're the GOAT of, you know, MMA as far as the heavyweight division. And it's like the medieval times when the king goes away from the castle, he fights all over the world. Yeah. And now he's coming home for his last fight. I mean, it's going to be a big deal there.
For sure. I mean, it was a big deal every time he's here.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be special. But to me, it should be a festival, and it should be a series of events that leads to his final fight. And it should be celebrated because, you know, the career that he's had and just and what he's meant for MMA and the kind of person he is, he should be celebrated. And we're going to make that happen.
Yeah, of course. You know, as for Bellator 238, though, you know, Julia Budd and Chris Cyborg, the biggest featherweight fight of all time for the women, right? I mean, just talking about how big a fights can be, this is a huge one, right?
Yeah, come on. Does it get any better than this?
Hey, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm pumped up. And did you see how big Julia is? I mean, she's ready to go.
Size, yeah.
And you know what? That's a woman that has a little chip on her shoulder because she feels like she's been disrespected, you know, by the community and by people. It's like, oh, Cyborg's just going to beat her up. I'm telling you, man, that's somebody that's going to be dangerous. So I'm expecting fireworks on Saturday.
Yes. And do you think no matter the result, is this one of those fights that it needs a rematch, either no matter who wins or...
Yes. Well, let's see how it happens.
Depending, yeah.
I would love to see a trilogy out of this.
Mean, it'd most likely be fun, yes.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But yes, I think it would be... you know, after the fight, we'll decide. Of
course. And, you know, just speaking on that a little bit, is there any progress being made with, you know, maybe Kat Zingano's debut?
Yeah, I think she's, I think she's coming to the fight, and I think she's going to fight sometime in March or April. Okay. So if you get with Rich or Ryan, I'm sure they could get you all the details of that.
Of course, awesome. And then another free agent that's just being brought in, Liz Carmouche, anything going on with her yet?
Yeah, we want to get her busy too. So, you know, she's going to be right in that mix. You know?
Awesome. All right, Scott, and any big goals for 2020 specifically, or you just kind of go with the flow, let everything, you know, more great stuff?
So there's just some, I mean, really great momentum with Bellator, and this is the launch of the season for, you know, 2020, and we have 30 fights to promote this year, so we have a big schedule all over the world, and you know, it's exciting to have the merger because there'll be opportunities with, you know, different broadcast partners. I think there's going to be, you know, Paramount will be there, but maybe we just do digital stuff with Showtime or digital stuff with CBS. I mean, there's nothing set. We haven't really sat down and talked, but I love the possibilities of how this could work out. And that's the beauty of the merger, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's going to be great for Bellator.